People talk a lot about toxic relationships nowadays. And I've talked about my own toxic relationships in my videos, some of my blogs. But what exactly is a toxic relationship? Well, baseline, it's one that's very unhealthy for you. And how do you know if it's unhealthy? Well, the analogy I like to use is if you feel like you have to perform for the other person, or you feel like you're walking on eggshells, or you can't be your authentic self, that's a pretty unhealthy relationship. And oftentimes we talk about the other person in terms of a toxic relationship and all of the wrongdoings, or all of the bad things they've done, or the behaviors that they've exhibited. And whether it's a romantic relationship or even a friendship, you hear things like, I can't believe he acted that way. Can you believe he said that? Or let me tell you what they did to me. So while all those things and actions might be true, I'm going to remind you that you have no control over the behaviors, actions, words of someone else. So today I'm going to flip the script a little bit, and I'm going to ask you, do you have a toxic relationship with yourself? And when I mention having the need to perform or feeling like you need to perform for others, who are you really performing for? If you are your true self, I'm going to concede that you shouldn't need to perform at all. So today, I'm going to share some signs with you that could indicate you may have an unhealthy relationship with yourself. I'm going to give you 5 of them. I'm going to keep it fairly short today, but listen closely. I'm curious if these resonate with you. So number 1, over-involvement in someone else's life. So you're a helper. You want to be helpful. You want to do the right thing, or the nice thing in your mind, and you want to take care of others. And it's great to help others. I'm not saying don't help others, but if you're more involved in someone else's life and their decisions and all the things that are going on with them as opposed to yours, that's an unhealthy balance. And you can be taking away from pouring into yourself by excessively pouring into others. So if you're giving and giving and giving till it hurts, that's a pretty good indicator that you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself. Number 2, compulsive behavior. Now, eating, shopping, even exercising, and all of those things are, I love to eat, I love to exercise, and I do love to shop. But oftentimes we use those things as a diversion. Doing, I often say, is an escape from being, and we use those behaviors to numb ourselves. And we numb the reality of the feelings that we have. And when we numb the feelings that we have, especially if they're feelings that don't feel very good, and we just keep pushing them down and down and down and not dealing with them, at some point they will surface, and they will likely unsurface in a very unhealthy way. So number 3, you say yes, even when you really think you want to say maybe or even no. And the reason you do this is because you don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings, or you don't want to, you want to be liked. And this means that your boundaries are either blurred or they're non-existent. And when you're constantly saying yes, either for fear that you won't be liked or because you don't want to hurt somebody else's feeling, again, you're sacrificing yourself for the sake of others. And it's really important that you establish what is right and healthy for you, and not wavering on the maybe. I always like to say, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. So if you're saying yes, even when you really don't want to do it, or even if you say maybe and you know you don't want to do it, being able to assert yourself and use your voice is really important. If you're unable to do that, that's a good indicator of an unhealthy relationship with yourself. Number 4, an unhealthy need for recognition or approval. Now, I have absolutely been here. I've been in a place where I didn't get the level of security or love or affection that I needed, and so I looked for it outside myself. No shame there. I know that I did. I worked crazy hours to get ahead, or to get promotions, or in my career. I loved to defy the odds. And if somebody told me that I couldn't do something, I'd work extra hard to do that thing because it was a wow factor. I got accolades, I got approval, I got validation. But the problem was I got it outside myself. Don't get me wrong, that feels really, really good in the moment, but it dissipates. And if you're constantly seeking that from outside yourself, again, a sign of an unhealthy relationship with yourself. Last but not least, number 5, taking responsibility for the actions of others. Now, if you're a mom, you get this one. But there comes a point, even when a child is really young, that you have to let them take responsibility for their own actions, because if you don't, how are they going to learn? They're going to continue repeating the same behavior and depending on you because you've never let them take responsibility for their actions. Another place this shows up is in the workplace, because you either know you'll get accolades, which goes back to number 4, or sometimes it's just too time-consuming to wait. You don't want to wait. Another place this shows up, domestic relationships. Sometimes it's just easier to take responsibility for the other person's actions because you don't want to have the conversation. You want to avoid the conflict, or you want to keep the peace because if you bring it up, you know there's going to be an issue with it. So there's a difference between caregiving and caretaking. And when you constantly do for someone else, that's caretaking. And it creates a very unhealthy dynamic, not only in the relationship with your partner, but in the relationship that you have with yourself. So why does all of this matter? Well, if you have an unhealthy relationship with yourself, the longer you stay in that pattern, the longer you are prolonging your peace. You're going to continue to feel exhausted. You're going to continue to feel disconnected. You're going to feel divided. You're going to feel that inner turmoil within yourself. So the longer you continue along this pathway, the longer you're going to feel that way. And if you want to feel more peace within yourself and you want to feel free of all of that, you have to start with the relationship you have with yourself. It starts with eliminating the toxicity in your own relationship with you. So if you are interested in breaking that cycle, I am absolutely here to help. DM me, or you can go to julievanmeter.com and schedule a heart-to-heart chat. Hope you have a great day. Start on loving you.